Good evening, everyone. Michael Devine here, Gray Matters Radio. I'm America's counselor, everybody. How's everyone doing? It's another installment of the amazing Gray Matters Radio. I know you're probably missing us a little bit. You're like, man, dude, like usually you guys kind of release on Monday. Well, shit, guys, I was tired, Labor Day. So Labor Day, we're technically supposed to celebrate, Labor, I think? No?
The Day of Labor. Yes, that's correct.
And my day of labor, I was celebrating my mom's labor of me, pretty much, in case you didn't realize, technically.
Who is that? Who do I hear on there?
Technically speaking, it was Labor Day for my mom. My birthday was on Friday.
You turned 40. We're all 40.
We are all 40.
Is this like a 40 club intervention on here tonight?
It very well, it very well might, because if you had to pull out an intervention for me being 40, you pull out one of our childhood friends, all the way from Texas. So that is probably pretty damn impressive. So, on that note, we got to introduce him. My man, John Dalton. What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Dude, I'm doing
Happy
awesome, man.
Here.
Yeah, dude,
man.
Yeah, of course we got Bill, the armchair QB himself.
What?
So JD, we are, so this cool thing about this show is that, it's pretty much, it's not just an excuse for all of us to kind of hang out. I mean, it kind of
get away
is,
from your family.
Maybe it kind of is, we're working, we're going to try this radio thing out and see what happens with it.
Yeah.
But
Hobby.
It's good. Exactly. And so we had this whole idea of, growing up in the Midwest, we are kind of raised with values where, like, you can never be too right, too left. And we always had really great conversations, no matter how kind of old we were. And so it's always dope when we're able to have a lot of our friends kind of come in here and basically model and do all the damn things that we kind of did when we were growing up. So our man JD down in Austin, man.
Speaking of dope,
I
we
think
go to
Bill
John
and I
down
have
in
known
Texas.
each other for I think I met you when I was like 10 or 12, something crazy like
Dude,
that. Long time ago.
Oh my gosh, it's been
How old are you?
I met both you guys when I was about, I want to say about 6.
It'd be about 6 or 7, man, because we've all, John, you and I were in the same grade. And so literally we were all inseparable, because I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, our boy John, like, why don't you guys hang out? I go, well, you know how life is, you move. And we were all inseparable. It was like every single day we were making a trek up the Hamrock and we were coming down. We all played football together. It was just, if life happens, people get separate. But it's, we always, that's the cool thing about the Midwest. We have like these roots, and everyone, I think, talks about the Midwest voters and whatever it is, but the reality is this is representative of the Midwest. We're loyal, even if you haven't talked with someone for a while, it's like, dude, it don't really matter how long it's been. And that is something very unique about the Midwest, I think.
I've always been very surprised that you guys stayed my friends. I have no idea why. I've always been a shit.
I've wondered that myself. Literally, I got a shirt that says Mike D on it. And so, like, who would be friends with a guy who has a shirt with his own name on it? I don't know.
Let's say your wife doesn't forget who you are.
So my man, so now John, how long have you lived in Texas for? I moved in 2003 down to Dallas.
Yeah, you guys both lived in Texas for like.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
So,
I had
think
no
it was
idea.
2006, somewhere around there.
Yeah. So what do you kind of notice the difference? Because like you moved down a little bit after I did, and Austin it's a little different than Dallas. Like, what did you notice?
There's a lot more traffic.
Yeah, that is true. A lot more hipsters.
Yeah, a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
It's kind of pushed everybody that I know when I first came here, like they're still here, just they can't afford to live where they were before. They just get pushed further and further out. So,
and that's like happening everywhere. Like a good buddy of mine, remember Cam Cozy? You guys remember Cam? So Cam lived in
thanks to Facebook. I remember who he is.
Yeah, so Cam lived in Washington, in Seattle, and worked for the Boeing company. And literally, he was just like, everyone's trying to move out now. Everyone moved out there because it was so cool. And then it got too expensive. All the tech bros moved in there. It seems like that's happening everywhere. Like it's I don't know. It's easy to point all the attention to like, hey, how awesome is the economy? Look how awesome it is. Look all this growth. But there's this underbelly to it. What you're saying, JD, it's like, you almost get priced out of it. And if you didn't like buy a house early on in a certain economy, like it's like, where are you going to live? And I mean, you mentioned like you lost a lot of friends just because they couldn't afford to live there anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's also one of those things, like traffic gets worse, and also people tend to go their separate ways. But some of the main reasons they moved is because they just couldn't afford to be there anymore, or the building they're in got torn down and they put up another building that was way more,
and that's where it's tough.
Move out. It's also too, like, people get sick of living downtown and want to kind of move away. People also, it is more expensive out there, and you start weighing out in your life, like spending money and what do you want to spend your money on. So, and it might not be a small apartment somewhere downtown. Right. It might be out with a yard because you have dogs.
Yeah, some people, they change that. Maybe they want to get married and have kids, and maybe they don't want to live downtown. Or, like you said, some people just get tired of it. I mean, I think you hear about, like, a lot of people that grow up in the country, like, not all of them, but some of them just, growing up, they really want to go live in a big city. And then I feel like the people that live in the city and the suburbs, when they get older, they want to move out into the country and get some land. It's always like the grass is always greener, or eventually kind of, I don't want to say it runs its course, but you kind of yearn for maybe what you don't have, and you think that, oh, okay, let's go do something the opposite. Not everybody, but I think some people.
Well, I think from, like, in Texas, this was before I moved, a lot of people lived, like, more the outskirts of Austin because they couldn't afford to live in Austin proper. People lived in Dallas, moving out, and even all stops in between, because there's no state income tax in Texas. There, a lot of times the politicians have the ability to go, oh, well, we have no state income tax, we haven't raised taxes,
so we raise every other tax.
There's a lot of rich people
property
with
tax.
Yeah,
property
tax.
They
have their business here, and
whatever. And what was interesting is that a lot of people, because the property taxes go up every year, like, so the best thing happened, your property values went up, but your property tax is always a percentage of what your property values are. Yeah. So you had these people.
Property tax is huge here.
That's the problem, and then you had people that could afford their house, like, responsibly, and then all of a sudden they're, like, having to get roommates coming in because they literally their wages haven't kept up with that cost of living, and it's like. And that's crazy to think about, that you can afford your house and then now you can't afford your house. That's crazy. It's just,
I don't know. If you're on the edge and you're on the, I don't know. Not everybody's good with money. Whatever.
But that's, it's interesting because, like, John, we were all talking, before the show, kind of talking about what we're going to talk about today.
People don't make the jobs aren't all there, but
it's I think the problem is that there really are multiple economies, and what's interesting is that there's been so much kind of focus and concentration on, like, the Trump voters, like, hey, what do you got to do to win those voters? But I really feel as though, like, I call it the donut hole voters, where we're, like, the ones that, like, fall through the cracks. No one really cares about us, and we're the ones that, we're not rich. I mean, we make good money, and we do well for ourselves, but yet we're not poor. We're not rich. No one talks about us. Our taxes go up all the time. I mean, my self-employment taxes are insane. Property taxes go up. And you have people, like, as John is saying, maybe at one point in time, maybe they were on that very edge of what they could afford. Maybe the house, but they thought that was fixed. Maybe their cars are a little overextended, student loans.
They continue to grow.
Yep. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you get a kid, a student loan, a medical expense, or like your property taxes go up.
You're making the same and everything's up.
You know what's weird about the property taxes too is, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but did you know in Mexico that if you fix up your house and make your property value go up, they actually reduce your taxes? They actually incentive. They give you an incentive.
Crazy. You take care of your place.
They give you an incentive
to
make your house better because they know.
What's the catch?
There's no catch.
There has to be something.
It's just that when it comes to that, Mexico is actually doing something right there. You have like an agave
plant factory in your backyard,
that's the way they do it. Like, you actually get penalized for making your home better.
You have to sign up for Sinaloa, like real estate or something.
I know, but how
you have to give away your firstborn.
Yeah, that Pablo Escobar real estate company is amazing.
Okay. Well,
amazing.
They're very fair.
Pablo was not in Mexico. He was Medellin. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Colombia, you're thousands of miles off.
Well, it's the idea of the joke. I mean, we don't have to get all technical here. It's been a long week. My ass can barely see the screen because my allergies are so bad. So come on,
the allergies. Mike has pink eye here.
Well, I had pink eye.
You shouldn't get on your iPhone when you're on the toilet.
I do my best thinking and tweeting when I'm on the toilet. Okay,
Yeah.
So one thing led to another. Yada yada
Hey,
yada. I couldn't see.
You gotta get your shitters out.
This is between y'all.
But it's like, I just think like, when we're talking about the things that really matter to Americans, and that's what this show is kind of about. It's about talking about the things people don't, kind of call out the bullshit, or if talking about something we're all talking about, but in a way that's actually of substance. And this is the thing that bugs me, because we all will talk about this. Hey, these are things that are bothering me. This is screwed up, but yet we don't hear any of our politicians talking about it. And there's so many of us, I don't understand why we don't make an issue to go, why are you guys not talking about this? Like, why is my self-employment income so damn high? Why is it so many people's wages are so damn stagnant? That's the shit that I care about. I mean, now, JD, you're actually moving out of Texas in Oklahoma.
You're moving to Oklahoma.
Talk to everyone. I'm trying to figure out what a robot farmer is. For the life of me, I
mean,
can't figure it out.
beyond that, like, another reason to leave Austin is just having real estate here, or buying real estate. Like, there's just a lot of big companies, a lot of people that have already, they control that market, and there's money. Like, you can make some money, but I want to have a huge opportunity. I want to, get something that you got to get there way ahead of time. So you got to find some place that's got potential and hope that it grows and invest in it.
And that's where I think, and that's like really important. Like, so like what? So tell everyone a little bit about what you're doing. I know you came on the show just wanting to be on it, but I'm like, all right, I want you to talk about what you're doing and why you chose to go into, because we talk a lot about the cannabis industry on here, and we've talked a lot about some of the hypocrisy. We've talked about.
Well, I'm no expert, that's for sure. I mean, I've dabbled in the cannabis industry, but I'm no scientist.
So what made you want to get into it?
They're just a guy with money that gave them money, and I believe in what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be real big, and the guys doing it are amazing. They're just made to do this. Very smart, and when you see people like doing something that you're impressed by, support it if you can.
Makes sense.
I think they're going to do big things.
And I think that's cool. Having that foresight to kind of go, this is an industry I see that's going to blow up. And not only that, because you can, let's be honest. There's a lot of people.
Rush, for sure.
It really is. Now, why Oklahoma, though? Because I've been hearing so many people talk about it, how it's almost the polar opposite of Ohio. Why Oklahoma?
They're a religious Bible Belt, and, you'd think that they'd be very judgy of people doing drugs, but this is just an opinion, but there's a lot of meth there. And the moment that weed became medically legal, they much probably rather everybody be smoking weed than, doing meth.
Well, it's crazy, like, because the state seems really open to it. Like, we have that's what's crazy to me.
He's got a good point, though. At least
it has the biggest ever medical acceptance of any other state that's, medically more people support it. It's like
really?
Something like 80. Actually, I can't give you a percentage. I'm just making shit up, but it's a lot.
I'm just making shit up.
So are you guys?
I want to say 84%. Who knows? I could be pulling that out of my ass, or I could nail it. I don't know.
So now, one of the things I've learned though about the industry is that everyone has their angles. We had a good friend of the show, 710 Labs. They specialize a lot more in extra. Well, a lot of times, like, everyone's specializing in something different. Our good friend 710 Labs does.
You get it there.
Well, what are you guys doing?
Being a shooter again. We're just staking our claim there, and this is our land, and we're free to grow pot.
Literally, was that kind of?
Yeah, that's what they did actually.
That was a great movie.
They had a big race. They lined us all up, and we got to the space first, so it was ours.
Nice. So why robot farmer? Like, what is the name? Like, why a robot? And why is
honestly,
he a
I
farmer?
have nothing to do with that. I do like it. I think it's great.
It's dope branding. It really is.
Pun intended.
It is awesome stuff. And again, this is just something that I don't have to do anything. Like, they're doing everything great, and I have zero, so it's easy for me. I don't have to do anything, and I like that about it. Maybe sample shit for them. Guinea pig sometimes.
Question for you here. Since it's robot farming, Do you have a bunch of T-100s or T-800 Terminators out there in the field picking the buds? That's what I picture. I picture like Skynet instead of turning evil and having judgment. They decided to cultivate.
I was thinking more like the robot from like Rocky IV, where it's like you have one robot just dancing the whole time to like Bob Marley or something.
Boy,
you know, that's what I envision.
You drive by like, boy, honey, RoboCop really fell in hard times. You know,
it's only like one. You know.
Yeah, interesting enough, there's no robots.
What?
Oh,
can we like?
Crazy.
Can we like?
There should be.
I think it should be a contest. Like, get a robot, and we can name the robot.
Get a time, right? Oh, they already named it.
His name's got to be Bud.
I don't get into it. It's like, I don't know what it is. I don't like it, though. Whatever. You don't have to like everything.
So now how you feeling about moving to Oklahoma? I mean, it is like Tornado Alley, man.
So never say never. Like, and I've said I would never fucking move to Oklahoma, and here I am. I'm gonna fucking move to Oklahoma.
From Austin, of all places.
What city in Oklahoma?
From Austin. Oh, I told someone there, like, why would you move from Austin to Oklahoma? Like, well, because the property's cheaper and it's gonna get more expensive, and it's a good time to get in. That's why. Yeah. I didn't say that. I said whatever, stripper. Take money.
That's what like you said in your head, but then in reality, it was like, I don't fucking know. It's just I don't know, why not? Are you sad at all though? Are you sad at all? Or are you actually excited?
Actually, yeah, it is kind of hard to leave here. You know, you get somewhere for so long, you get in that like habit or whatever. But whatever, it's good to make change. It's good to move around.
There is something about it. Like, I think moving back to Ohio after being in Texas for so many years, after growing up in Ohio, it was nice getting away. But then it's also really nice to come back. And
I'm proud of you for leaving. Some people couldn't do it.
Dude, it was tough, man. I mean, Bill and I have talked a lot about, that decision. I mean, a lot of it wasn't choice. I mean, I applied to a lot of schools, and it's where I got in. But, dude, it was tough, man. I mean, it was rough that first year because it's, we all got something, like, special, is that when we've all known each other for so damn long, and then all of a sudden you take people that are like family. Even if, like, you fuck up, you're still going to be, friends. Yeah. And then moving to Texas and all of a sudden to meet all new friends, different mindset, It was tough, but then it becomes home. But then ironic that I moved to Texas and the girl I ended up marrying, his family was all from Cleveland. So I guess the girls in Texas didn't like my sense of humor too much.
Now, I remember, just for the record, I would just like to point out that you two bastards moved to Texas, I want to say within like a year of each other.
He moved 06, I moved 03. And I had no idea because he was never on Facebook or MySpace or anything.
I just got on that recently.
Yeah, I knew you.
What, MySpace?
You guys both on MySpace.
Yeah.
Is Tom still your friend?
Apparently it's not around anymore.
Well, it is. Justin Timberlake bought it a few years ago, but I don't think he ever did anything with it, is what the last I heard. But no,
he's my only friend on there, Timberlake.
I remember when you guys both moved to Texas. Like,
I got old talking to him.
I've known both of you guys a long time, and John, you moved to Texas, or no, Mike moved to Texas first, and then John, you moved like 2-3 years later, and you guys were both in Texas, and I was still in Ohio, and I still had some friends here in Ohio, obviously, but I would just remember going, two of the guys I've known the longest moved to Texas, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, I was like, fuck Texas.
Like, what are the fucking chances?
I was like, fuck Texas. What is so great about them? What do they got down there? Like, what, you think you're better than me?
You gotta get out there and see what's going on, I guess.
No, what made you move down there?
You found your wife out here, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, John, what made you move to Texas?
Go.
I had no idea. Like, what made you move down there?
It's the Lone Star State, man.
I don't know. Just, I was trying to get away from my dad, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he followed me. It's like that movie Back to School.
Dude, you're not going to get rid of
him.
him.
He just signs himself up. Next thing you know, he's in the dorm room. Like, he literally bought like a place across from me. He'd come over in the morning and have some strange lady laid out and like knocking on the door. Hey, what are you doing?
So the cool thing about Big John, like when we were like, I remember like with our families, it's like, oh, we're going to go run some errands, right? With John's dad, it was like, we're going to run some errands, but yet somehow we always went to a place where, one, he left us totally unsupervised for like 8 hours. You had no idea what he was doing.
He didn't do that until like we were like 13 or 14.
Oh, I remember.
That's a great time to do it.
So I remember, like, we were probably like 9 or 10, and we were at the Eddie Bauer warehouse. Why there?
There wasn't camera phones.
Yeah, that's different.
It would always be like leaving us, and then we would get into whatever trouble. We'd do like the pallet jack races,
What kind of trouble did we really get into, though? I mean, honestly, we didn't steal anything.
That's insane, kids running around these warehouses. But it did happen.
Nowadays, kids that
nowadays be like, "Fuck no, you ain't doing that." You know, didn't you do that? That shit was different. You know, there was no phones back then, no security cameras.
Oh man,
their security was not good there.
No, I mean, even like, you know, because the thought of, you know, my daughter's 6, and even the thought of her like going off somewhere and chilling. But then I'm like, man, like we would be like at AMC watching 5 movies like all day long at the Continent. Like, we would just be like totally latchkey kids. We never got into really bad trouble. I mean, did we ever?
Not really. I can't remember ever really getting into real trouble.
I'm trying to think the worst. I mean, the worst thing ever, you get in a fight over like Nintendo.
Well, that's a fight with us, but you're talking about trouble. Like,
it's usually Billy throwing something.
Oh, Bill was the worst.
Oh, please. Yeah,
I don't know. JD, we were all pretty bad. We were all bitches in like our own little right.
We were all bitches.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. We all bitched and moaned about. We had our little idiosyncrasy. We're always bitched and moaned. The thing I hate about John, like, so whenever you'd crash over at John's house, right, he had to have music playing to fall asleep. In my head, I could never have music. I had to have absolute quiet. And so I used to play this game and trying to figure out when John was asleep so I could go to sleep finally. And I don't know how many times I'd turn it off. He'd be like, "I'm not fucking asleep yet." I'm like, fuck.
I'm a terrible roommate.
John was the first person I knew that had a speakerphone. Remember speakerphone?
Oh yeah.
I remember. I called. I want to say
pagers,
my mom on speakerphone.
Cell
He was like,
phones.
"Oh yeah."
He
was like, "You don't
they
have to
called my
stand
dad
there."
because they thought I was a drug dealer.
I remember that.
Your dad would always like call, like,
And my dad's
hey,
like, "Yeah, he probably is selling drugs because he's like to fuck with people."
Well, it was in an era when it was like, you know, your dad, like, you literally lived like 3 minutes away, and yet your dad would always call, like, when it would always be him calling, "Hey, we'll be there in a minute." Yeah. And it's like the whole idea of like calling from the cell phone regularly.
No, it wasn't a cell phone. It was a car.
Here's the real question: what was my dad doing?
You know what? I think he just. I think he was making a good.
Like, I gotta get away from that guy. He's driving me crazy.
You know,
you guys like, we gotta get rid of this guy. He's driving me crazy.
I remember when he had the full size van, Mike D, and he had the television and the VCR in the back.
That red van. Well, that van was dope, man. That was awesome. The captain seat, all of them.
That's ridiculous. A TV in a van.
But there was like in like 1988.
I don't think anybody can understand how awesome that is now.
Yeah, it was the greatest thing in the world.
I know. Like, I look back now, like, I remember that finally. Like, that was a full-size van. Like, do they even sell full-size vans like that anymore?
I mean,
like,
to molesters, maybe. I don't know.
I have a minivan, and it's like the biggest minivan I could find because I don't know that they have the full-size van that I want.
But this vans. But this is a cool thing that's like, and this is the stuff where I work a lot with kids, and kids, you know, I mean, a lot of times they talk about, well, our style of hanging out is just hanging out, right? Like, you know, like they like playing video games and like over the online, they're playing from room. And I'm like, but the thing is, like, we literally could probably we could have like a 5-hour podcast talking about all the shit we did. Some of it cool, some of it just whatever. But it was always about going out, doing stuff, getting to adventures, getting into a fight, making up, you know. And it's like, that's the things where I look at kids aren't getting that anymore.
Kids don't get outside now.
We spend a lot of time outside.
They said
we weren't allowed inside.
Well, here's the weird thing: is like we all played video games growing up, but we
still went outside.
We'd hang out in that stupid cul-de-sac by your house.
Exactly. Play football. We played baseball.
Yeah, baseball. Pick one.
We played video games, but like we played video games at night. We played video games when it was raining,
like
outside,
a rainy day, yeah.
And we played video games as like sleepovers. But now these kids, what they're doing is they're not going outside. They're not on their bikes. They're not outside playing football or basketball. They're playing video games.
They're arguing with 40-year-old men on.
They're not even in the same room with their friends, so they're not even getting that interaction. Like we would at least be in the same room. There'd be 2 or 3 or 4 of us playing video games. You know, they're not even getting that. They're playing online, like you said, against some random person, which is fine.
We had to play split screen. If there's 4 of us, there's 4 little screens. It's crazy.
I know.
The screen was like this big. I'm like, who is that? I don't know. Shoot him.
But it's true, though. I mean, like, when you look at this generation, they talk about, like, oh, we're all more interconnected. These are my friends. But this generation is also the same generation saying that they're more lonely than ever been, more purposeless. They have less connection, less people they feel like they can open up to. And here we are, literally, like, we have, like, John and I were trying to figure out, like, dude, we have not talked in probably like over 10 years.
They got rid of all the bullies.
Now they're all cyber bullies. Like, at least my day, we got our ass kicked, right?
You get your ass kicked, you move on.
You gotta face people when you talk shit to them. Like, you should say it to their face. Yeah, that's proper.
Yeah.
online and behind people back. That's no good.
It's bullshit. It's cowardly. And it's like, this is where it's kind of like sad, because what kind of connections can people really have if everything is online? Whereas we all knew each other for so long, we can literally not talk for like 10 some odd years. And then it's just like, dude, my man, like, dude, it's been a while, but that to me makes me sad when you look at what is missing in this society. And we look at the discourse,
it's just different.
It is, and it's like, and I feel old complaining about it. I feel like I'm about to shake a stick and like tell kids to get off my lawn, but then I'd be happy that they're outside to be on my lawn.
Yeah.
So that's where I don't know where that line is drawn. Of, what can you even do about it? I mean, like, I don't really know if you can turn the clock back, but I think we've missed something in this country. Even in the world as a whole, we're missing something, and it's that human connection. And we have no empathy for each other anymore. We wonder why our politics is the way that it is. I mean, is Trump a reflection of society, or is society a reflection of Trump? I don't know. I would say 80% is society and maybe 20% is Trump. I mean, Trump's not helping. Symbiotic.
But he's not helping. But to say he's the culprit, I don't buy it.
I think, I don't know. I mean, I guess where I look at it is, it's when we've dehumanized people so much to where, almost like from my ivory towers, we can do and say things where it is vastly affecting people,
like online,
or just the way you run a campaign and being so disconnected.
Well, I don't think that, like, for example, like, had Trump run 20 years earlier using the same kind of insult tactics or in-your-face tactics or whatever you want to call it, I don't think he gets elected, no matter who he runs against, because people would have been like, oh, I can't believe he's saying this. I can't believe he's doing this. But now, because we are in an age where everyone's in the comment section, everyone is reacting on Twitter or Instagram or wherever the hell they're on, people are there's more road rages. There's just, people aren't taking shit anymore. They're telling you what's on their mind, for better or worse. That people are saying when they see Trump, they're like, you know what? Half the people are like, oh. The other half are like, right on, I identify with this guy. And again, I don't think that's Trump's fault. I just think that's kind of an evolution of society.
So I got a perfect example. All right. So, I'm really big on weather, and climate change. And in case you've been hiding under the rock, there was a big ass hurricane, right?
It's funny for someone to be like, that's not real.
Yeah, well, we got literally the most powerful hurricane in the history of the Atlantic. 200-mile-an-hour winds, 225-mile-an-hour gusts, right?
225, I heard, yeah.
So, this thing decimated the Bahamian Islands, right? So, if this is an example of kind of what our modern society has created, when we're talking about a island practically being wiped off the face of the earth, something to where if that thing would have just kept going in a certain direction, where that could have been Florida. So listen to the comments, all right?
But it didn't. It was the Bahamas.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is, get a list. It's,
Trump had a laser that kept the hurricane from.
Well, I mean, that's what some people, like, literally. I mean, some of the comments are literally, it's like, oh, it's some Russian weather machine and it doesn't count. But literally, it's like.
Wait, didn't the CIA try to come up with a weather
machine? Yeah, Project HARP. Yeah. So, like, get a list. So, I mean, if this tells you how dehumanized we are. So at first, I thought this comment was like, oh, okay, it's being nice. But I thought again, hang in there, Bahamas. Countless U.S. dollars are on the way. Like, oh, wow. Another shithole bites the dust. Shit happens. Poor people. Where's the European support? Not our problem. Hang it. Home to the 1%. Let it rot. Paradise, eh? Let's see here. God is punishing us because we allowed Jeffrey Epstein to be killed while in prison. Isn't it obvious? A lot of Negroes are without homes. Jesus, fuck. I mean, like... What the fuck? How do you humanize?
Like, why are they
Drudge Report?
That on mine?
This is Drudge Report. Well, this is the comment section on an article talking about the devastation in the Bahamas.
Problem. You're talking about the comment section. I think people have always had these opinions.
What JD was saying. Like, it's
people have always held these opinions. The problem is now they have an outlet. And again, comment sections I think are the devil.
So where I disagree. Well, I guess I agree and disagree. I agree what you're saying, but what's happening is that we are now so dehumanized. Where looking at something on through a screen, it's almost like you don't have any empathy for it, so you can make comments like this. I mean, those are human beings.
Well, I don't think it's that we don't have empathy. I think. Well, I mean, I think that's.
I don't think they do. I think a lot of people don't.
That is part of the problem. I
don't know. I'm not growing up in a younger generation, but someone typing to me or telling me over headphones, like calling me a dick or something, or like, I mean, it's just not going to affect me. And maybe it's because of how, I don't know, but just, I don't want to be like, don't be so sensitive, but I don't know. But get off your computer, go somewhere else. I don't know.
A lot of these people are trying to troll each other.
Where
too.
are their
like,
parents?
They're trying to get the best.
Oh my god!
I think a lot of it. I really do think a lot of people do feel this way. It's like an outlet. It's like a way of them saying like how they really kind of feel. I mean, it's fucked up, and I mean,
people are hiding behind these these phony screen names. Right?
Is it how they really feel though, or are they just like?
Well, honestly, I do. I honestly really do.
Trolling the people, like they're trying to get you riled up, and it's succeeding. Not all of them. Some of them are straight up, homophobic or racist or what have you. But some of them are just poking the bear because they know how fired up it's going to get you. They know what your soft spots are, so to speak. Mm. The left does it to the right does it to the left. They know.
But this was the human beings. Neither any Democrats or Republicans.
I couldn't agree more. But and we've talked about it on the show. But I think that if it, speaking of the comment sections, if you had to put your real name with a real picture of yourself, right? Like that was like a rule or a law. Like they couldn't have a comment section. All of a sudden, I think you'd see a little bit more difference.
I think in theory maybe, but
still have some assholes.
Every other day though, you see shit on the news that people posted on Facebook and fired from their jobs. So I don't know. I think
you're the counselor, Mike. Do you tell us why?
It's a diffusion of like responsibility. I mean, you are kind of putting it out there. There's like what's interesting is that they did this research where they had people watch a concert straight up and kind of report back on like how much what they remembered and moreover the emotion that they remembered about the event. Then they had them do the same exact thing, but then watching it on their camera as they're recording it. People had vastly fewer lower empathy
people are
scores.
Stupid. We're unreliable. Our memory is extremely unreliable.
Yeah, and when we're looking at something through a screen versus what we actually experience, we have far less emotional memory tied to it. So I think if you're taking what the research is telling us and what we're seeing is that by looking at the world now, we have all this information. We look at other people and their plight. We look at the other side, Democrats, Republicans, one part of the country, the other. You are inherently dehumanized from a human experience and how the brain experiences reality. And then on top of that, you have companies that are knowingly massaging our perception of reality and our emotions to get us to buy something, vote for something.
It's called an algorithm.
Yeah, and it's changing the human experience, but yet they don't care. It's brilliant, but they don't care. They don't care the negative downside that it's having on society, and that's the sad, fucked up thing of, all right, like we've jumped the shark as a country.
More regulations.
So what's the solution here? I mean,
that's the thing, man. I mean,
don't let your kids on the internet all day.
There you go. Right?
Honestly, man. I mean, I
know, right?
Well, think about it, like
How
John.
difficult is that?
But John,
you have 8-year-olds that have cell phones. I mean, come on, man.
This is a good point because, like, I know, like John,
That's
like,
retarded.
Like if you have like kids, John, like you are obviously kind of anti-government or not anti-technology. And so that for you, you're going to raise your kid the same damn way. Like, well, I'm not going to be plugged in. You're not going to be plugged in. And then
the world's going to shit fast. I'm not going to have kids. I have nothing to worry about. Climate control, give a fuck. Not going to bother me. Woman president, they say that's going to happen for 200 years. Not going to bother me. No, I'm just kidding. I saw something where they said,
wait a minute. John Dalton, robot farmer, says women don't care.
Now, John, do me a favor.
Geez, that was a joke, but it's just funny that.
Hey, if you
where does that number come from? Like, how do you get that stat? What is that? That's the problem with people. They hear something like that and they're like, oh man, that sounds.
Dude, I've been wanting to start like a viral campaign of like what's something you can get traction on. Like I heard 50% of people believe that all Mexicans really aren't Mexican, that they're really Australian. Oh, well, that does make a lot. So is Australia trying to take over the world? Are they the deep state?
John, like we can make up anything. Texans as Mexicans, but they don't.
If you hit it big in this robot farming. Are you going to build yourself a big giant like doomsday bunker up in?
If it gets big, I'm going to sell off my part of it and then do something else.
No, I'm saying like, you're going to like build like a doomsday bunker there in Oklahoma just in case like the shit hits the fan. If you make a lot of money. Come on,
But
you got to have one of those.
I got
If
knucklehead
you had a
friends
really
that think
big,
shit
I mean,
like that.
really
I don't
mega
really
rich.
care. I don't own a gun. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
Like,
actually, I want to pivot to this role, because I look at like it's funny the different generations. If like you look at a lot of kids now, it's like insta famous. That's my goal of making money, right? But I look at our
they want to be a
generation.
social media influencer, Mike.
Well, they want to be a social media influencer so they get
An
money so they
influencer.
can buy all this shit, right?
Well, I would love to be that too to get the money. I don't actually like. I wouldn't want to be famous. Like I wouldn't want
But
to go to a
then
restaurant and be
you got to
robbed.
maintain it though, because the reason why you're an influencer is because you have all the shit, like the rich
Well,
kids
no,
of
what
Instagram.
I'm saying is like it would be cool to like have
Slippery
the money.
slope. It sounds.
Yeah,
It's-
right. You can't have one without the other. I get
But
it.
there's a distinct thing of like, there's a lot of kids that feel as though like, hey, insta famous, or I want to make a lot of money, I'm going to buy all this shit, right? But we know it doesn't make us happy. But I look at our generation, like John, like, hey, I make a lot of money. Like, what would you do with it? Like, if you made like, let's say $5 million,
The podcast.
And, well, no, for like Robot Farmer, 5 million, like, sell your shares. What would you do with it? Like, what would you do?
Buy real estate.
After you buy your good friend Bill Reed a house, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you can live in it and pay my mortgage for me. I don't mind that.
Can I get a Can we? Like,
If
can
I
I get a
sell it,
robot
I give you a
that? Can I just get a robot that dances?
Sure.
All right, well, cool.
Hey, you're gonna need a butler, all right? And no one can butler like I can butler.
Like, I mean, seriously, Jay, what would you like? Would you like buy a house? Would you go on vacations? Go snowboarding? Like, would you just have experiences?
I mean, I do all that now.
Yeah.
He's like, I do that now.
And the thing is, like,
I would
how
continue to do what I'm doing.
and how satisfying is that? As far as like having experiences in life.
You always think about the other side, having a family and a wife
Yeah.
and stuff. But then, I don't know. It's not. Where do you go from there? Being responsible for somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I look at like our generation that I think a lot of us, when it comes down to money, it's not really about, hey, I like a sports car. But a lot of it is about, hey, I want to be able to go on vacations. I want to be able to go maybe buy a place in a place, like a house in a place I like going on vacation. Experiences, visiting friends more. Whereas I think the younger generations, it very much is like the money, all the bullshit. And I think there's something to, once again, like our generation, I really do feel there's something to the happiness and the things that we kind of reach and kind of strive for. And I don't know, I think there's something to that. And I think that's why our generation, we're all fucked up in our own different right. But I don't know. Like, I think there's something to that. Like, we're not very greedy, our generation. I think we've been a lot more responsible than the other ones. Bill, do you feel the same way?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know much about the younger generations. The older generations, I've noticed, like they've done everything they can to take advantage, like especially in Texas. Like they try to get as much out of you all the time. It's like, I don't know. It hasn't been like the best business wise here. I mean,
it's a fallacy, man. Like,
it's kind of good old boy shit. They don't want to let people in, and you're not from here.
Now, Austin's obviously a pretty liberal town. I mean, I've heard. I think maybe it was you, Mike, actually, that told me that the people there in Austin, and John, maybe you can kind of tell me more about it. But the people in Austin kind of have a saying politically that like we're not Dallas. That saying is like we're more liberal, we're more Democratic. Where Dallas, I guess, is more Republican, and I know the whole state of Texas is obviously more right leaning. But Austin's kind of like. Austin reminds me a little bit of Columbus in the way where, like, Columbus in itself is pretty liberal. Now, once you get outside of Columbus and you start spreading out,
college
you become
town,
more conservative, right? But like the actual town of Austin, the actual town of Columbus are pretty liberal towns in of themselves.
Well, I know everywhere I go, I offend people. So
now, what's your you haven't really mentioned it, but like, what's your take on Donald Trump, just in general? Good, bad.
As a business owner, even like, what do you really think?
I mean, he's great to troll people with. Like, it's amazing how emotional people get over it. Like, I've had people
like really bad,
and I really honestly do not care like one way or the other. But like, people have been like emotionally upset. Like, you need to.
Fight you.
It's crazy. I'm like invested people, and I don't quite understand that. But it is a weird thing. Like, I don't ever remember people being. I remember people hating Bush, but. And people like
Bush. Oh, man,
deeply like feel like he's done something personal to him. It's weird.
Yeah.
He kind of does bring it on himself, though. I mean,
well, he does,
honest,
but let's be honest. I mean, he doesn't.
And he acts incredulous. I don't understand why everyone hates me so bad. How are you surprised that?
Hold on now. He doesn't help himself. He doesn't do himself any favors. But
has he ever been any different though? I feel like
the media.
It's not like all of a sudden
is just
changed.
on him. I've never seen the media. Yeah, I've never seen the media on a president, including Bush, including Clinton when he had his troubles. You take that's a drop in the bucket. I mean, it's 24/7 news cycle. We can turn on CNN right now, okay? And I guarantee you, if it's not on within 2 minutes,
I don't watch that shit.
Well, I know I don't either. But they will have a negative Trump story. They just will. Like it's. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve some of it, absolutely, but it's just 24/7. It's just like give me a break here. Like you would think that he absolutely is Satan himself, and then you turn on Fox.
Pretty sure there's other stuff going on.
Well, and then you turn to Fox, and he's basically the second coming of Jesus. So I'm like, I think the truth is somewhere in between, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, but this is
check your sources. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. It's like, and that's where I think I love your viewpoint. It's like, fuck, I don't even I don't even pay attention to that. I don't even look at this. I don't read this. It's like if a tree falls in the forest, it's like I don't want to. It's draining on my soul. And I think there is something to that of like we almost should just take a step back and go, I don't want to watch this shit. I don't.
If we stopped watching it, it would stop.
Yeah, I don't have to.
It's one rich person.
Those ratings go down. They'll switch to something else.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why I think I like, whether it be like racing, or in driving and like skiing and stuff like that. I think that's why I dig it so much, because it's that one time where, you're away from everything. It's totally disengaged, and it's just, it's you can drain all that out, and there's something very centering kind of about it. I mean, I know, Bill, you're not the, you ski, but not the biggest. John, I know you're a big, snow person like I am, and there's something about being at the top of that mountain, and you're looking down at a run, and you're just kind of there's something so centering about it, and I think that is something that is missing for so many people, I think, in this world right now, is that one thing that allows them to kind of do that. Or that dog, I mean, the dog's like, hey, dude, I'm happy right now.
Oh, come on now. Let me let that dog in.
Hey, can we get a timeout here for a dog break? Hey, when John comes back, I just want to ask him, and Mike, you live down there too, obviously.
Yeah.
If I go down to Texas and I say the stars at night are big and bright, are a bunch of people in the back are going to go?
No, I think you will get beat up.
Really?
Yeah, you will get beat up. Yeah,
fucking landmines everywhere.
You might get hospitalized.
So yeah,
shot,
I'm on a friend's front porch with their dog shits everywhere on a picnic table. This is quite the studio.
But this is the very Austin thing of doing a podcast interview outside.
I wasn't going to miss this.
You can't
get
more Austin than that, I mean, it's the dopest thing,
I'm very excited to have you on here. We both are, and I've been looking forward to this ever since you announced and said that you're going to be on here. So thanks for being on here with us.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We appreciate it, man. It's always good to catch up, and I think once again, one of the things I think that's been most powerful as a clinician is when it's kind of like telling stories and relating it back to things that are going on. My clients sometimes call me out on it. They're like, dude, this is where you do that thing. We're talking about something totally unrelated to my problem, but it somehow you relate it back.
Hunting.
I'm like, no. But now that we're talking about that.
Tom, what'd you say?
It's like Goodwill Hunting.
Is that Goodwill Hunting?
It's like I always.
Is that what you do to them, Mike? You just look at them and you go, it's not your fault.
Sometimes I like to
I've always been wondering, like, that shit would never work. I love that movie. That shit would never work.
Oh, it's a great movie.
If I were to say it's not your fault, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, stop fucking walking.
Harvey Weinstein flick.
It's a good flick, right? But
he's like Michael Jackson. They did great music and great movies. Yeah,
but as a
personalized shit.
Yeah. Well, isn't that about 95% of people in real life, though?
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Everyone is always about.
They took out everybody. Bill Cosby down. A lot of people we grew up with.
How messed up was Bill Cosby? You were talking about something that I was like, no, that's not true.
But that's the ultimate thing.
Bill
I mean, like, it's that people will do stuff like that plausible deniability. It's like,
I know.
But that's the thing. I mean, like, you know what? But I'm always like talking about like how we can take things and from other people's lives and what we can kind of learn from it. And we're always talking about like solutions, not this bitching and moaning, because there's 100 podcasts out there where it's about, all right, yeah, let's bitch and moan about something and get some YouTube videos. But it's always about what is it that we can learn about it from a discussion. And I look at one of the things where if we're really about getting back to what this country is about, it's about getting back to human interaction, humanizing each other. To humanize each other, you have to be in person with each other. And between everyone on this call, we've known each other over 30 years. And that those connections are real. Like, we haven't talked in years, but the connection is always going to be real. We're always going to be brothers in some way, shape, or form. If any, I'm sitting here going like, dude, I miss JD so much. Like, we got to schedule a visit to go down to Oklahoma. We got to go skiing. It's kind of like
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. You forget almost. Like, huh?
Do they have?
It is
skiing?
important.
No, but we're gonna go somewhere else.
They probably got sledding at least.
No. I mean, it's flat. They have tornadoes that you can like ride, I guess. I mean,
like the movie Twister.
I mean, yeah, basically.
Damn.
But this is what's about. This is real. And if the country had this level of connection with each other, like getting out there, talking with each other, parents, like, telling your kids, get off your fucking computers. Like, you'll have that time to do it, but have experiences, be real. Not because it's old timey and old fashioned, but the way we are wired, we need that. And this country is sick. Yeah. This country has a cancer right now, and we're not addressing it. And that is one of the solutions, I think, to it. We have to be in front of each other to care about each other again. And if
you don't want to have kids, get an abortion.
That is one thing. If it's in Oklahoma, though, you probably got to wait,
You're not gonna
5
like that
days
there.
in between.
I think you have to drive to another state.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Don't even start the abortion.
Yeah, that'd be like instantaneous clickbait.
I mean, we're talking about.
That's a whole.
Is that what the robot farmer is doing? What is he farming?
Oh, it's like the
He's
Matrix.
gonna take care of these kids. We're talking about here. Their parents aren't. Now where's your solution there?
We can send them all to Mexico. They send them all here.
The kids probably don't need counseling. It's the parents.
Dude, that's how it always is, man.
With their kids.
Dude, the parents. I mean, you nailed it. I mean, the parents need it more than anything.
Drop it off for you to see. Be like, fix them. Like, all right.
I mean, I'll take the money, but I mean,
well, what's weird is like you need like a license to buy a gun. You need a license to buy a gun, and those things kill people. But you don't need a license to have a kid. I think we got it backwards.
Yeah,
people say that. It's funny, but it just shouldn't be like, I don't know. What are you gonna do? People have kids, and they.
It's easy to point, and that's the thing. It's easy to point the finger at everybody and everything, but the reality is that we're raising our kids, we're raising our family. There's a reason why things are the way that they are, and this shit would not happen that many years ago. And it's easy to blame, but
I don't think we can blame kids though.
Thanks, Obama.
It's the kids are a product of their environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so
they do what we tell them to.
Yeah, and so
you buy your kid that's 8 years old a cell phone. It's like, what are you telling
what
that
do you
kid?
expect is going to happen?
I think the parents that buy their kid, the
I put a
kid
block
cell phone.
on it.
Yeah,
well, not going to figure out how to get.
Yeah, great. They're going to find a way around it. Awesome. Yeah.
I think the parents that buy their 8-year-old kids a cell phone, I think they do it with good intentions. I think they do it because they're like,
because their friends have it.
Well, I think
it's easier.
I think part of it is because their friends have it. It's
exactly.
pressure. Absolutely, that's a big one. I think the other one is. In their minds, because I'm trying to think, I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, so I'm trying to think like what their thought process might be. They're probably thinking, you know what? I'm at work when my kid gets off the bus. We don't have a house phone because people don't have house phones. This way, my kid can call or text me when they get home from school. And
how many times have one of us been in a situation when we were growing up where there was an emergency because we didn't have any of these like. We didn't have access to a phone immediately.
There was an answering machine that was checked twice a week.
And we were fine. Literally, we were fine. I mean,
it'd be Thursday.
You said this earlier in the show. I can't think of any time when we were running around all the shit we did where there was an issue.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only time I can think of like calling 911 was I remember we had Chris Freeman and we were all, and he called 911 and hung up real quickly and they called back like 3 seconds later. He's like, "Oh shit, my bad." That's like the only thing I can think of.
My wife did the same thing at Sutter Park.
How do they know it was us?
Yeah,
I mean it's but it's a good point is that the parents are so scared. But sometimes I feel like it's kind of bullshit. I think it's just an easy way out of it's easy to go to the restaurant and the kids don't have to, they leave you alone. But it's like, all right, parenting's tough fucking work, and it is work. And we this once again, it's causing so many problems in this country, and we got to get back to the basics of connecting again.
Family.
Family. And whatever family is friends. Family is family. Family is fill in the blank. But we need that again. And we just really got to get back to that. And I hope, our generation of parents where we kind of waited later in life, we kind of had time to kind of see how fucked up things were, and that every generation after this will kind of change it. We saw that growing up with one generation of kids to the next of things being radically different. So that's what I'm hoping, because especially as I've gotten older, I do realize the power in it. And once again, know I'm like a broken record, but can't deny the fact that, all of us in this room or this virtual room have known each other so long, and we that is real, and
that was a bond we made a long time ago.
It was, man. I mean, that was our childhood. I mean, literally, I could probably sit here and think of like over 50% of my favorite memories from growing up, and it's all of us hanging out and doing something, and that is cool. And and it's like, and it makes me sad that a lot of kids growing up now are not going to have that, and we wonder why kids are so removed.
They're all playing Call of Duty, which is a great game, but damn.
It's it's like kids need to get into trouble, and get in trouble outside and have those experiences.
Let me just say this real quick while we're talking about kids getting in trouble. It's kind of off the subject, but I want to get off my chest here. So we took our kids to my son's preschool. He's 4. My youngest son is 2. Over at Sutter Park. Sutter Park is now a preschool. Right. So we take them over there, and we go on the playground to the big toy. This is the other day, Labor Day weekend, and what do we find on the playground?
Condoms.
I find
grenade.
I find a grenade.
Syringe.
I find a box of condoms, empty. I find a used condom on the ground next to it. I find about 5.
Were they ribbed for her pleasure?
I find about 5 or 6 empty beer cans / White Claw. You guys heard about White Claw?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it until like a month ago. Now it's everywhere. I don't even know.
It's like a Four Loko or something like that.
It's an alcohol.
It's like a malt sparkling water.
Yes, that's right. I found about 5 or 6.
You can get drunk and hydrated at the same time.
Exactly. So, it's healthy.
This is all
the girls are like, it's healthy.
Carbonated for her pleasure.
So this is all on my child's playground, right? So I'm walking around. And
same one that we ever took in first grade?
Right. So I'm sitting there and I'm going, I'm offended. I'm mad. Like my wife's there too. And when we see this, I'm like, why would you leave this for children to find? So I'm walking around the playground. And what do I see sitting there by all the shit?
A parent drinking beer on the playground?
I see a backpack with the student's last name. It says, with the high school they go to, class of 2020. And I went, gotcha, motherfucker. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was like OJ dropping the bloody glove at the scene of the crime. I couldn't believe it. Had the last name on the back. You left it behind.
How drunk was he?
You left. So you get drunk.
Well, that was me and my girlfriend were boning and someone came and I ran.
You left a backpack with your name, your school, and the year you graduate.
See, once again, we would never do that shit. We would never get in trouble.
You probably just walked up on them.
No. This was like 1 PM that we went, no. This person, I couldn't believe it. Like how blatantly they had left their shit. So what did I do? I sat there for a moment. I said, because I was like, wow, I can't.
What do you do?
If the bag doesn't fit, you must have quit.
I'll tell you what I did.
What did you do?
You shoveled that shit in the bag?
I wasn't mad.
I checked if they had a bag of pot in there.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a robot farmer.
I did look in the bag. I did look in the bag to see if there's anything in there, but there wasn't. It was empty. So
cash,
So I'm mad. I mean, I'm mad. I'm the old man.
You want that to get a waste?
Now, brass knuckles, butterfly knife.
I'm not mad that they did this. Okay, they're teenagers. I'm not even mad that they did this on my child's playground. Okay? What I'm mad about is that they didn't bother to clean it up. They didn't have the common courtesy. Like blatantly. Like, it wasn't like you accidentally dropped something. It was like, fuck this place. We do what you want. Like, that's what I was mad about. You left it for children to
Back to the parents. Teach your kids some manners.
Speaking of the parents. So what do? I put in the last name into social media, into Facebook. Can't be that many people.
Yeah.
It's a pretty kind of a
social
last name.
Yeah.
I find the kid. I find him.
Mm-hmm.
Class of 2020. I'm like, at that high school.
Got you.
He hasn't been on Facebook.
That's the area. Detective Bill.
Because Facebook is the basic bitch of social media.
He hasn't been on Facebook in like 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Right? So I go to family members. Mother. So I take like 4
Did you rather face it and say, bad boy, bad? that.
I took
No.
like 4 or 5 pictures.
No.
And you spray him with a bottle.
I sent it to the mother.
Choke him out.
I send the mother a message with the pictures of this, the condoms, the condom boxes, and I said, listen.
She said, "Thank God he's wearing condoms."
I don't know if this is your child, but I just think you should see what I found today at my 4-year-old's preschool's playground.
Yeah.
Now, and I said, I understand these things happen, but I'm just curious why you would leave it for children to find.
Yeah.
But half hour later, the lady emails me back. She's like, "Oh my God, this is so terrible. This happened to us a few years ago. Blah 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 blah. We've talked to our son.
He's in high school a few years ago, so like when he's in grade school."
She says, "No, he loaned the bag to a friend." Right?
Yeah,
he
of
loaned
course.
the bag to a friend.
Loaned it.
And my son was not drunk, blah, 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 blah,
But he
blah.
had
And
his
we're going to have a talk with him
ID.
about who his friends are. And I said, listen, she was, can we come get the bag? That was her concern. The bag. I don't have the fucking bag.
If
Lady,
you talk
I
with
didn't touch
any
anything there.
dude, if you talk with
It is
any
a pain in the
teacher,
ass to get a new ID.
dude,
Oh
teachers
my
will
God.
talk about that shit all the time. Where it's like the parents, because it's like if their kid is bad,
Well, it might
that
not
means
have been
they're
the
a
kid.
bad parent. They can't be a bad parent, so they just blame the
It
teacher.
was-
Hey, my kid's fault. You know.
The lady said to me, she says on there, she goes,
Mhm.
we have recorded the other child admitting that he borrowed the bag. I'm like, you recorded him? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I just don't want you to have sex and leave your beer cans on my kid's playground.
So once
I don't
again,
care.
the point totally being lost, right?
But I actually found out the kid who did it, and I called
You
the
should have
mother.
asked for that recording, and you should have just kept going with this. This
Well, part
sounds
of me
hilarious.
thought about that. I was like, should I send this to the coach?
It's like,
of the
dude, you
football
really went
team?
all in on this one, man.
Well, I was pretty hot about
Where,
it.
where was
kidding.
this like
How bored are
initiative
you?
when we were younger? You
I
know,
was pretty hot about it. Well, I mean, imagine going to your daughter.
that's like
Like,
making a
dude,
bomb and dropping on
It's a lot
someone's
of effort.
porch.
I would
It's not
think I
like
you
put
know,
much
dropping a
effort into
grenade
that.
on the dirt trails somewhere and someone recovering it.
I did that.
I know you
That
did.
happened.
That's why I
Dude,
brought it up.
I remember
It
your
wasn't
dad
a
took-
real grenade.
remember
That
we-
was an accident.
Well, I
though.
remember like when we took over to the big toy. I think it was your
You
dad that
did
took
it.
us to the Army surplus where we all got it, and your dad was probably like, "Oh, sounds like a good idea to me."
I like how this show started about
Think
the
about
economy.
today, like
And it's not
something
as
like
morphed
that
into
happened.
this.
It's still different.
Dude, we would be in jail. We would be like enemy combatants if we got in
Yeah,
trouble
yeah,
for
but
any
who's
of
the
the shit
asshole?
that
They
we did.
sold that to us. Like we went to a store where they
Like a
sold.
defused
it wasn't-
grenade.
It was an empty grenade.
Seemed like a
so
good
basically
idea.
It was a hunk of metal.
I remember-
It
I
was
remember-
The 80s.
I remember I got the shirt. I remember I went to your dad. I'm like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" He's like, "That's great." My shirt literally said "Better dead than red," and it was like the hammer and sickle. I wore that first day, first grade, and I just remember your dad going, "Looks good to me." All right, so I'm going to close out on this. All right, so
Wrap
all right.
this shit up.
I have a confession to kind of make. All right, since
Uh-oh.
we're all talking about coming clean and
here we
being
go.
adults, setting the
Oh,
example.
no.
All right, so I believe I still own John like probably what $150 probably still from when I wrecked your rim because like I started
Oh.
paying it back. I moved and I still technically owe I think John Dalton.
For
You know,
what? Wait, for what now?
so all right, we were driving somewhere down campus. We were driving the Audi,
oh, there's your first.
and it was
mistake. You're
down
on
by
campus.
Blue Jackets, and it was like this weird curb thing where it flattened out, but then this weird curb came out, and I took the corner, not seeing it,
Fucker came out of
fucked his
nowhere.
rim up bad, right? So
If
it's
you
like,
hadn't
you know.
said anything, I completely forgot about
I
that.
never heard this
But I
story.
just I'm a man of integrity.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you're
and I'm like, you
something.
know what? I moved. I never
You owe
finished
my
up
dad
paying
that
him.
money. No big
You know,
deal.
It's all right. Well, here's what we're gonna do. All right. So you and I talked about we're gonna go out skiing this year. Right? It's done.
Yeah.
We are going.
I
will
skiing.
buy your lift pass to make it even
Oh.
Steven with the universe. Okay.
Sweet.
Well, even Steven.
Whatever
I,
makes you happy. Yeah. If that makes you feel better.
We got to make it even Steven. Even if it was your pops, it will be out of,
Yeah.
he would appreciate that me kind of come back going, listen, I owe the man $150, even though it was like from 15 years ago. I'm a man of my word. So I will buy you a lift pass like in Utah or something. How's that?
All
Or
right,
wherever it is that we
you
decide to
don't
go.
owe me anything, but we'll see what happens.
All
So
right.
definitely hanging out, though, going skiing would be amazing. That's
Dude,
better
we're going to
than
go skiing. I say you pick the place. Montana, Utah. Let's just pick a date.
Yes.
We'll do a long weekend.
All right.
Yeah, I'm totally in. I'm even though I'm already chomping at the bit to get skiing. I keep like counting the days down. I'm like, what's the
You
first
got it.
place that's gonna open up, right?
I don't know. I've never done skiing. Sucks too early. We want to go like probably after December.
I was thinking like
Maybe
January,
good
like
snowboard.
maybe like
Yeah,
end of
January's a good time
January.
to go.
That'd be
Got a
perfect.
good
So
base everywhere.
yeah, so we'll
Less
do end of
global warming
January.
fucks it up.
We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna find a cool place. I'm gonna go place I haven't been to. I haven't been to Utah or Montana. So let's find somewhere
Sweet.
cool. So I'm down. All right.
So you can come too. You can play video games or we ski.
There we go.
I like to ski. I gotta tell you, skiing was one of.
You can rock the bunny hill.
I haven't skied in years, but I gotta tell you, like when I went, probably like 99, 2000, I went 10 or 20 times. I took to it like a duck to water. Like honestly,
I got extra set of skis. You can borrow mine.
Yeah,
let's all do it.
It actually wasn't that bad.
We'll do it. We'll do a podcast out there.
I wasn't
we'll
the
do
best.
We'll do a nice little on location one.
Fair warning, I wasn't the best at stopping at the bottom of the hill, but going down, I gotta tell you,
that can be kind of troubling though on a mountain.
Well, it's gonna be a mountain.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Wear a helmet.
Definitely a helmet.
Fuck yeah, I'm wearing a helmet.
That's the one thing that's changed now.
Wait. When you guys go skiing, do you or do you not wear helmets?
I always do. Yeah,
I do.
Okay. That's the thing.
Well, I would.
People look at you weird, like if you're not wearing one. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Okay, good.
Yeah. Now everyone.
It makes sense. It really does. Like not wearing a helmet.
It's kind of dangerous. Like I don't know how many times I bit it, and having like
ice
the little cobweb.
Yeah,
like especially out here, man. Well, trees hurt even worse than ice.
Well, but I'm just saying though. But just to have it, like nowadays, all the kids have helmets on their bikes. None of us had helmets.
Fuck no, man.
I have a hard time wearing a helmet on my bike.
Well, I haven't been on a bike in a couple of years, but I would totally wear a helmet. I would.
It's kind of you do feel a lot more secure. Like when you go from like not wearing it to wearing it. And then I remember one run, my little ear pad thing got jacked up, so I couldn't wear it going down. I felt weird. Like it almost felt like it almost felt like driving a convertible with no doors and no seatbelt. It just felt kind of odd. So, but we'll figure out.
It's so hot here. Like you want to like.
I know.
You wouldn't think it would be that big a deal, but it's a huge difference having something on your head and pouring sweat.
Dude, dude. I do not miss that
really
at all, man. I don't miss that at all. So on that note. Don't melt, buddy.
All right. This was fun. Thank you.
All right, dude. Thanks for coming on, man. And, I love, once again, just, it's not just all about talking about these big, crazy things, and coming with facts. And it's just about the human experience. That's what the show is also kind of about. And today, the friendship and the power of that. And, and just, there's something to that. So, I'm so stoked that you reached out. I miss you already, man. Like I can't express enough how awesome it is to catch back up, man. And dude, just thank you so much for coming on here, brother.
Anytime.
All right. So on that note, let's get the fuck out of here, Bill.
Done.
So we always learn something on this show. We learned power of friendship. We learned power of just like getting away from our computers, connecting, humanizing each other again, and
we learned about robot farming.
We learned about robot farming.
Although we really didn't learn about it.
Not really much, but
we're still trying to figure out. I almost kind of like the mystery.
Well, we're gonna bring John back on here in a little bit, a few months or whatever, or a few weeks, and find out more about this robot farming.
I know. We'll probably know a little bit more. Yeah. So
little mystery.
Dude, we may have to come down there. If they'll have us in Oklahoma.
Best to see it for yourself.
I think we must need to. So on that note, everyone, I'm Michael Devine, America's Counselor, Bill Reed.
Don't say my name on the air.
The armchair quarterback? No. Well, you're Bill. Or
my name's John Dalton.
I'm John Dalton. On behalf of 614 Network, getting down all day. Michael Devine, America's Counselor, everyone. Remember, next time someone asks you, you a Democrat? You a Republican? Say, fuck that noise. My ass is gray. All right, everyone. You be good to each other. Peace.